BBC News with Sue Montgomery. President Zelensky says the destruction by Russian troops of the defenders of Mariupol will put an end to the negotiation process. The Russian Defense Ministry claims its forces have cleared the whole urban area of Mariupol. Sasha Schlichter reports.
Referring to a devastated town outside Kiev, Mr. Zelensky said Mariupol may turn out to be as bad as 10 Borodyankas, adding that if Russia's goal was an early end to the war, its actions in Mariupol were a big mistake. We trade neither in territory nor in our people, he said, and the more Borodyankas there are, the more difficult it will be. Earlier, Ukraine insisted its troops were still holding out in the ruins of Mariupol, where the defense is concentrated around the huge Azovstal metalworks adjoining the port. Reuters journalists have reached Mariupol's other giant factory, the Ilyich Steelworks, only to find, in their words, a silent ruin of twisted steel and blasted concrete, with no sign of defenders present.
The mayor of Kiev has warned residents to be wary of further Russian missile attacks, as well as landmines in northern districts of the capital. At least one person was killed in a Russian attack on military industrial facilities in Kiev. Mark Lowen reports.
A hint of normality is beginning to return to Kiev now the Russians have retreated. But today showed again how the threat is still present, even from afar. And Vadim Halaychuk, an MP from President Zelensky's Servant of the People party, warned of what the occupiers have left behind.
The Russians have mined even refrigerators and washing machines. There are a lot of mines on the roads. We have reports about fridges, washing machines, cars. But at least one I know had been killed, a civilian, just opening up a door of his car. This is the reality that we are facing now. The atrocities are enormous.
Ukraine shows every intention of stepping up its fight back in this war, and so the fear here in Kiev is that Russia's retaliatory strikes will only continue.
6 bodies have been found and 29 other people are missing after their boat capsized off the Libyan coast near the ancient coastal city of Sabratha. This report from Mike Thompson.
The migrants had been trying to reach Europe in a small wooden boat. Libya, along with neighbouring Tunisia, is a key departure point for many thousands of migrants attempting the same dangerous journey. The UN says that nearly 500 people have died trying to cross the Mediterranean so far this year. The deaths come at a time of increasing tensions in the Libyan capital Tripoli, following the reported movements of armed groups there.
You're listening to the World News from the BBC. 8 days out from a crucial runoff vote, President Macron of France has offered supporters 5 years of national renewal. Mr Macron warned people of the dangers he said were posed by his far-right rival Marine Le Pen, saying the country risked turning inwards and becoming divided. Ms Le Pen called for left-wing demonstrators to cast their ballots in the second round, rather than stage public protests against her. The Taliban in Afghanistan have summoned Pakistan's ambassador in Kabul. A government official and local residents said more than 30 people had been killed in airstrikes in Khost and Kunar provinces. Libika Pelham reports.
An Afghan Foreign Ministry statement said military violations by Pakistan must be prevented as such acts led to what it called undesired consequences. A local Taliban official in Khost said the 2 districts had been bombed by Pakistani helicopters. Islamabad denied it carried out the attacks and said the ambassador and the Taliban authorities had discussed a resolution of border issues. Earlier, the Pakistani military said 7 of its soldiers had been killed by an armed group in North Waziristan, a former stronghold of the Pakistani Taliban. The Afghan Taliban in the past denied harbouring Pakistani militants.
The United States says a summit with leaders of Southeast Asian countries will take place in Washington in mid-May. The meeting had been due to take place in March but was postponed. The White House didn't say whether a representative of the Burmese leadership would attend. The most senior rabbi in the United Arab Emirates has unveiled plans to develop the country's first dedicated Jewish neighbourhood. The Gulf nation is now home to around 2,000 Jewish residents. That number has doubled since the normalising of relations between Israel, the UAE and Bahrain in 2020. BBC News.